Hello everyone, I am Naresh. In this section, we are going to learn about the functional verification flow and methodologies. In the previous sections, you have learned the basics of functional verification. You have got the introductory part of functional verification. You know the terms and terminologies which we generally use in verification domain. So, the main focus of this section will be what exact flow we are going to follow when we start our verification and how we and what kind of methodologies we use. So this is agenda for this section. So we will see how we start our verification and how we go about doing this verification. So exactly what is our verification flow and when we say my verification is complete. So we will see how we create the verification plan, what all things we put into our verification plan, and while creating this verification plan, what all things that we need to keep in our mind. After that, we are going to see the important components of verification environment, what all components are needed for creation of a very good verification environment. So we are going to learn about them. And another important part is when I say my verification is complete. So we are going to see that part also. After that, we are going to learn about some verification languages, what are mostly used verification language in today's industry. And then we have a small session on verification methodology. We won't touch much on the verification methodology. I mean, this is another big domain. I mean, we can have there will be a separate lecture on that. But in this section, we will just touch upon some key points of methodologies. I mean, like why methodology is needed, what exactly is methodologies, what are common methodologies are being used in today's industry. Okay, let's start with verification flow. Let's say I have gotten design specification. Now, as a verification engineer, how do I start my verification? What is the first step that I need to do? And what all different steps during my verification I am going to do. So the first thing that we do, that I have got the spec from the designer. So what I am going to do, I will read the design spec thoroughly. Once I have gone through the spec and I have understood it completely, or may not be completely, partially, I can start my design verification plan. So DV is nothing but design verification. So I create DV plan. Once I have created DV plan, so I have created this DV plan based on my understanding, and this specification is being defined by designer. So I need to review this verification plan with the reviewer and other members in my team. And so when you review with the designer, you will get some feedbacks. Okay, you can include these features in your verification plan, you can include these test cases, or you can add some more things. So you get some feedback. And when you get the feedback, you again revisit your DV plan and include whatever feedback you have got from designer or other people. So you include all those points in DV plan. And once you have included all these points, you again review DV plan with the team. So once your reviewer team say okay, DV plan is okay and we are good to go. So after that, we start our verification development environment. So we start developing our environment. We will see what all different components we need to develop while creating the verification environment. So once verification environment is developed, so next step will be we need to start creating test cases. And once we create test cases, so we create test cases one by one and we run them. So if my test case is failing, so I need to debug why test case is failing. So when you debug, either it's your environment issue which you have created, I mean your test bench issue, or it can be it will be a DUT issue, RTL issue. So in case it's an environment issue or test bench issue, you need to fix it yourself. Or if it is the RTL issue, you need to report failure to designer. Now designer will provide you fix and you need to run the test case again. If it is failing again, you need to again report it. If your test case says okay, test case is passed after that fix, you add that particular test case to regression list. Now regression is nothing but you put all these test cases in one list and you basically every day you run that list at the end of the day. Generally we run that regression list at the end of the day. So basically it's nothing but running all the test cases together. Now in parallel to verification environment development, so we have a functional coverage coding part also. So these days actually all these verification whatever we do, it's mostly coverage driven. So basically when we create test cases, we have certain feature or coverage in our mind. Okay, we need to cover all these features or coverage points. So we create test cases according to that, and in parallel, okay, I decide. I need to develop the coverage coding also. So with different verification languages provide certain ways by which we can code coverage, which will tell that my particular test case is actually working or not. So now your regression list is ready. So what we do is we run regressions. Now when the regression you run, so you get failing test cases and passing test cases. So once you need to debug all these failing test cases, and once you debug all the failing test cases, whatever failures are there, we need to report to the designer, and designer provides you one fix. You take that fix, again you run the regression, and we keep on doing regression again and again. And in parallel what we do, we collect coverage like code coverage and function coverage from our dump database, which we run while running the regression. Now this coverage collection we do, and once we see okay this particular coverage point is still not hit, there is some feature is not being covered, we add test case for that and again run regression. Now once my targets are achieved on coverage, I can say okay my verification is complete. So this is a typical verification flow which we follow. There might be certain step here and there, like you do this thing first, but mostly we follow this particular flow. Okay, let's look at the need of independent verification. So one thing in comes our mind is designer creates functional spec, and designer creates RTL. He knows everything about his RTL. Why not he should do that verification? Why we need a separate person to do the verification? So there are a couple of reasons for that. Why we go for a separate person for verification. So actually the verification engineer should not be an individual who participate in the logic design of DUT. Now why is that? Because if designer didn't think of a failing scenario while creating his logic, he won't create a test case for that, because he will be thinking only in that direction. So we need a separate person who can think in parallel to designer, and he can find out certain corner cases which designer is not able to find out. But at designer, till some extent, designer also should be able to test his design, like normal sanity checks he should be able to do. Like earlier days where we used to do the directed test casing, provide some directed input and check okay for these particular inputs, what are the outputs I am getting, whether for this input my outputs are correct or not. So those kind of checks designers still do at their own level. Now when the designer, in designer's mind, he will be more focused on the implementation side. But as a verification engineer's focus will be only on the functional side. So he will be focusing what is my functionality that I need to check. He won't bother about how it is being implemented. So while doing the verification, he can basically test his design rigorously, and he will just say okay, I can give any number, any input I want, and that should not fail or you should not hang. I want actual output from that. So that's why we generally go for independent verification. Not generally, always go for independent verification. And verification not a single person job. For small module